Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing. Let's have some fun. Striding purposely into the kitchen, my heels tapping on the tile floor, I strode up to where they sat and politely curtsied to the two stunned women as my aunt beamed a smile at me. Sarah was the first to speak. "Robert, it is you. You're lovely. I can't believe my eyes. If I didn't know you so well, I'd never have guessed you weren't a girl." Then a sly twinkle appeared in the corners of her eyes, and she said, "Mary, we've had a trick pulled on us. How long have you two ladies been keeping this a secret? How long has Master Robert, Eve, been dressing this way? And what was she doing in your bedroom last night? It's obvious she didn't just learn how to put makeup on by herself or how to walk that way. Well, do we get to hear the truth?" We spent the next 2 hours drinking tea and explaining everything that had occurred in detail. The obvious questions came up, and we answered them, hiding nothing. When we finished, Sarah and Mary were as happy about the life I had chosen as were my aunt and I, both promising, more than once, to assist me in my transformation. They also expressed their happiness that my aunt had finally discovered how wonderfully fulfilling sex between the genders could be if the two people were right for each other. "This is the first time in my life I wish I were you, Sarah. You'll get to spend more time dressing and caring for the young miss than I will. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll teach her things that have nothing to do with being a lady." Before my aunt could respond, the phone rang. Sarah answered it, then handed the instrument to my aunt. It was one of the club members asking if we still wanted to go shopping as had been planned. My aunt made her apologies, stating that yesterday had been so exciting for the both of us that we were tired and wanted to rest. She promised we would reschedule soon and thanked her for the offer. Turning to me, she said, "I hope you don't mind. We'll still go shopping. I just didn't want it to become a circus. Is that okay with you, Eve?" "Of course, Auntie," I replied. Without further ado, we made our plans and left to go shopping for feminine apparel that would fit me better. Aunt Lily invited Sarah to join us. My aunt had decided to buy me an entire new wardrobe. Since I would be trying on mostly slips, skirts, and dresses, we decided to wear heels and hose. It also made my passing easier. We piled into the car and drove to the nearest mall. On the way, we decided that it would be better if we three stuck together, thereby giving the saleswomen less chance to concentrate on me in case I made a mistake or someone became suspicious. As it turned out, we needn't have concerned ourselves. I passed with flying colors. It was one of the greatest days of my life. I went from store to store trying on and buying skirts, blouses, tops, pants, shorts, lingerie, shoes, belts, and jewelry. We made sure we didn't buy too much from any one store so as not to raise suspicions as to why I needed so many new items for my wardrobe. The most fun was the lingerie departments. The colors and textures were simply marvelous, and some of the exotic items brought a wondrous blush to my cheeks, which, of course, wasn't missed by either of the women. By this time, we were so pleased with ourselves concerning my ability to fool the various saleswomen that when we spied a free cosmetics seminar, Aunt Lily suggested I take advantage of the opportunity. I was somewhat scared, but the two of them goaded me into it, and when the young company representative also pressured me by offering to seat me in a partitioned area where only my companions could see, I reluctantly agreed. After taking my place on the tall stool, crossing one leg over the other and adjusting my skirt, as any proper young lady would do, the woman went to work. First, removing my makeup, she applied a new base, eyeshadow, mascara, blusher, and lipstick. Having Terry, that was the cosmetician's name, work on my features as she explained how and why she had selected the various products and shades felt wonderfully sensuous. I was putty in her hands. She even took the time to pluck out some hair from my eyebrows, giving them an arched look, definitely more feminine. All the while, my aunt listened most attentively, agreeing with Terry's suggestions and advice. During this process, I wasn't able to see my features as Terry worked on me. Finally, when she was finished, I was handed a mirror. The results were fantastic. Terry obviously knew her art, where before I looked good enough to pass, now I was actually stunning. My aunt agreed that the products Terry had recommended were perfect for me, and we purchased the lot, including additional items she suggested that would also work. Then, in a moment of total surprise, she softly whispered, "Eve, here's my card. If you need additional help, I'll be happy to come to your house for a private consultation free of charge. You needn't worry, your secret is safe with me. You're not the first male I've helped. I can also suggest a doctor who will prescribe hormone shots and pills, which you'll need shortly. Your facial hair is starting to grow, and shaving is definitely the wrong way to go. In addition, the prescription will do wonders for your skin tone and might even help you develop real breasts. Call me at my home number if you want my help." Then, bending, she gently kissed my cheek and winked. I hadn't fooled her at all. However, what she was offering made me glad I hadn't. I thanked her for her kindness and promised she would definitely hear from me. Then, with a squeeze of my hand, we parted. My companions had overheard Terry's offer, and when we were alone, that's all we could talk about. Deciding that this was the high point of the day and our arms loaded with packages, we had already dropped some of our purchases off in the car. We headed for home. The shopping had been a complete success. Upon returning home, we boxed up all my male clothing, hid it in the attic, and placed all my new clothes into my dresser drawers and closet. It had been such an exciting day that when evening came, I fell asleep almost immediately. In the middle of the night, I awoke in terror. I had dreamt that everything that had happened was just a lie. Even though dressed in a pink flowing nightgown, I was still confused and scared. Rushing to the door of my aunt's bedroom, I called out to her. As I stood in the open doorway, I heard two feminine voices call out to me. Then I heard my aunt say, "It's okay. Don't be scared. Honey, come lie down between Sarah and I." Now I knew that I had been dreaming. Climbing over the foot of the bed, I was welcomed into the warm, reassuring arms of both women. Placing me between them, we hugged and cuddled until I fell asleep wrapped in both their arms. That summer went quickly. I enjoyed all the experiences of being female that now opened up to me. I went to the beach in a lovely, slightly conservative two-piece suit and even developed tan lines. I went to the beauty shop owned by our friend from the club, initially after hours until my hair grew out and then during regular business hours. Oh, what a thrill, I called Terry. She came over and took me to the doctor she had mentioned at our first meeting. Auntie, of course, went with us. To my surprise, the doctor was a gynecologist and female. After a most thorough examination, the doctor, who was also a psychologist, met first with me and then with all of us. Afterwards, she stated, "In order for the Eve persona to become well-adjusted in adult society, you should officially change your name, destroy all your male gender clothing, dress in only feminine attire, and be introduced as Lily's niece. The reason that I recommend this for you is that it will please you, and thereby, even though you wouldn't really be a female, enhance your self-worth, self-image, and your ability to survive in society as an adult." We quickly agreed with the doctor's recommendations, whereupon I received a starter shot of hormones and a prescription for pills. The doctor explained that since I was still in the early stages of puberty, I could initially expect a conflict within my system until the new female hormones overcame the ones produced by my own glands. This would take about 30 days. After that, my glands would no longer actively produce male hormones and in some cases actually begin to produce female hormones. This would cause my skin to become softer, my hips to flare out, my facial and body hair to become softer and less noticeable, and my voice to become naturally feminine. Smiling, the doctor replied, "Yes, isn't it wonderful being female?" Getting dressed, we left the doctor's office and returned home. The next 6 months were a whirlwind of activity. As a result of my gender switch, I now took pleasure from fooling people. At first, I was naturally apprehensive and shied away from those few individuals who might know Robert from his past life. But as those unexpected meetings occurred and no suspicions were aroused, I became more comfortable. The few neighbors we had were easily convinced that I was Aunt Lily's visiting niece. Being a girl on an everyday basis enhanced my ability to pass, and eventually all male tendencies and mannerism completely disappeared. I felt totally comfortable in my new identity. By now, my hair had grown and was styled in a cute flip with bangs. My skin had a softness and sheen like a young girl's, my hips had widened, and my buns had taken on a feminine roundness. In addition, my body hair had lightened, and the vestiges of facial hair I had became a light peach fuzz and eventually faded away. All in all, my new life was wonderful. I was able to do and be all the things I had always desired. I especially enjoyed getting dressed each morning, selecting my outfits not only for their appearance, but also for the way they felt against my newly developing feminine body. My relationship with my aunt was even closer. She spent uncountable hours teaching me all the little nuances of being female and a lady. We spent a lot of leisure time at the malls, not buying, just shopping. It was a great place to practice my training. Auntie and I enjoyed just being feminine together. I discovered I now enjoyed being noticed. Women and girls never saw me as a boy. Now the opposite was true. Both men and women checked me over. The women for my appearance and the men for my body. I discovered the power a woman has over men just by crossing her legs or by adjusting her clothing. I soon learned the effect a casual smile or raised hem had on a male. There were, of course, men too strong-willed, and teasing them was dangerous. Both Auntie and Sarah taught me how to recognize those individuals and to act offended by their advances. On our shopping trips, I polished my teasing techniques till they became second nature. We went and did all kinds of things which, as a boy, had been closed to me. I was thrilled when the members of my aunt's club inducted me as one of them. To be a member instead of a mascot not only gave me a warm glow of pride, but also meant that they had totally accepted my transformation. By Thanksgiving, I had totally mastered being feminine. All my actions, speech patterns, and facial expressions came naturally and were gender correct. I had grown into the role so well that I never even visualized my old self. Robert no longer existed. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for early access and exclusive content.